in these industrial parts of Brooklyn, unless if you're working here. But Brooklyn is changing quickly, as evidenced with the building behind us, which I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe we'll investigate a little bit further. But it just might very well be condominiums. So Brooklyn's going to change very soon. And right now we're in Bushwick in the very industrial area. Let's walk around the industrial area, see what's changing. And first, let me mention a cool little treat that I tried at a place here called Fine and Raw. So we hear construction going on. I end up going to this place called Fine and Raw. It's a chocolate factory. I can't go inside really because it's very loud and they have very loud popular music playing. But I end up getting myself a coffee and some chocolate. Now the reason I end up coming here before is because I'm actually being sponsored on TikTok by a company called The Board NYC, who's hosting an event in here. They're not sponsoring this YouTube video or anything, but I had to come here to do that TikTok video, and I was skeptical at first because I've been disillusioned by Mass Brothers here in Brooklyn. Mass Brothers chocolate, I'm not sure if you heard about it, they used to have a huge chocolate factory in Williamsburg. And the two founders that were photographed had these gigantic beards, and people thought they were like real Brooklyn hipsters making chocolate in the most hipster neighborhood in New York City at the time, which was Williamsburg. It was found out a few years later that the entire story was fake and they were owned by some other bigger corporation. They weren't real hipsters bearded hipsters making chocolate. It was a bit of a bummer, but I was skeptical about coming here to Fine and Raw, which was opened up by a guy in 2007 called Daniel Scalar, and events. So I necessarily didn't need to like the chocolate, but I was curious whether the chocolate was good enough in order to really give a great review of the chocolate. And lo and behold, I was blown away. You're going to see that short video soon on my TikTok, but let me taste test a piece of chocolate for all of you. I got myself an Americano and I had this amazing toast with spreadable chocolate that was so delicious. I'm usually not a fan of toast and chocolate, but mind-blowing. Nonetheless, so I ended up getting this one called cashew butter. So it's made with cashew butter. And I end up getting a Americano. So let's try this out. Look at that. Okay, we're going to parts of Bushwick. And we hear the sounds of construction. Everyone who's watching from FB is again not letting me go live. It's a big shame. Something's wrong with the app. I hope they fix it at some point. I'm doing my best to get my permissions back, but if someone could repost it to the FB Urbanist of the World group page, I'll be so appreciative. So let's try this out. Wow. Oh my God. I was very skeptical about this chocolate. I already filmed the video, so I already tried it before. But I must say, I'm actually really blown away. The super fluffy. This was made with cashew butter, so it's a bit more on the milkier side, if you were to say. It tastes more like a milk chocolate rather than a dark chocolate. But it's not dairy. It's made with cashew butter, which is nice. So it's a kind of like a more vegan way of having a milk chocolate. Just the right amount of sweetness. Just perfect. Wow. And somehow, they made it fluffy in consistency, which is rather interesting. Usually chocolate, has kind of that either grainy texture or that heavy texture. This one's more fluffier, which I'm very curious how they get it that way. But there we go, some fine and raw chocolate. I do recommend it. I had a blast eating there, filming that short video. And they have tours Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and I think Thursdays as well of their factory. You just walk in at 3 p.m. Let's walk around, shall we? Hey, Hippo, nice to see you here. I think I experienced that before. I'll log out and re-log in. I've tried that many times. It's on Facebook Send. All right, let's walk around. So this is located on Johnson Avenue and Scott Street and Johnson Avenue. That's the intersection. Fine and raw. We'll see if I can film a little bit more in there in the near future. 70 Scott Avenue. How much cocoa salads? This was 54%. They have 6%. I think the highest that they have. I got 54% cocoa. Let me see if I can pop in a little bit of the footage that I got inside. Wow, so many cars coming in. So many cars coming in. So this was the toast I ended up getting. Oh my God, it was so good. Oh, I was in love. Very fluffy piece of toast and that huge scoop of melted chocolate. Thank you so much, Kay. So, that was a little bit of look inside. Check out later the shorter video. Here is a new building. I at first thought was going to be condominiums, but nope. Actually, they're continuing what most of these buildings are. It's also going to be manufacturing. Marina says, oh my God, that chocolate looks thick. Indeed it does. It was very thick. Hey. All right, Bob wants to try. Hey Bob, how's it going? Long time no see, Bob. You miss me? No, he doesn't. He doesn't miss me. He gave me the cold. Hey! For once, I have no chocolate in the house. I'm trying that place. I'll probably sell it in a few specialty shops in Manhattan. What's today's adventure, Bradley? Wandering around, embracing the industrial views of this wonderful, wonderful neighborhood. Bob is very dismissive today. He was, yeah. He must be angry that I didn't invite him for chocolate. Eugene says it's cutting out sometimes. Oh no. Oh no. The comments. I think let's check out the in New York City. Second oldest house in New York City. It's only like a block away. Susie says Bushwick is always an adventure. Bradley says, oh nice, you, something different again. You never seem to run out of things to do. Tom says, Bradley, that's an overall great question. What is today's adventure? We have delicious chocolate company in Britain called Hotel Chocolat. Is there any there? Yeah, there's a few Hotel Chocolats in Manhattan. This one that I just had today is of a different style. It's more, I don't know, it has a little bit more of a homemade flavor to it as opposed to the bigger chocolate brands or the more of the old school European brands. Those old school European brands have more of a kind of a refined flavor. Aya says signal's getting better. That's awesome. Not sure where this guy's going. Let me cross over here. Who wants to go into the factories? Let me know. Hey, Azara. Salam alaikum. Nice to see you here. Green bee, so I can get my snacks ready. About an hour. About an hour. Let me point towards the signs. Yep, wow, Chinese jewelry. Wow, trading. KFX wireless. No, that's not so Chinese. Yep, they're all Chinese. Jen says, I used to always get lost in Bushwick. Oh yeah, we all do at some point in our lives. Meidong Wholesale Group. Beauty of Bushwick, yeah. Bushwick is in beauty over here. On par with the likes of Rome and Paris. Bushwick is a city to marvel. Overcast autumn type of day, says Phila. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, perfectly overcast. Okay, up there in the sky. Faith says, why is this always closed? This never opened. In New York City. Second. Donk House. Here. I'll just says pass by. Yeah, everyone, terrible service in this part. Before I've tried to show you before this this house. This is the second oldest house. And it might sound German, but it's actually Dutch. The Dutch here settled originally in New York City, called New Amsterdam, and this was a Dutch family of the Bushwick. Yeah, terrible. Christopher is plugging some pizzeria. Christopher, do you work for said pizzeria? No self-promotion allowed in the comments. Bradley, do you asking any more old house tours? Yeah, I would love to show you more houses. I gotta think of others I can show you. All Onderdonk doesn't work because there's always bad reception there. Christopher says no. Huge fan. Okay. OPS Pizza. All right. Thank you so much for your recommendation. Just Kate says, sorry, I'm late. No, no worries. Just Kate, I am late. I'm so sorry. I was the one that was late. Here we got X Hong International Group. All these are Chinese. Jiahua Trading Incorporated. This could be a covert agency site, says probably not in Bushwick, probably be a little bit deeper in Long Island. But this way we can go to Maspeth, taking the B57. Who wants a chair? I already had my lunch. It was for a different, shorter video. All right, let's walk this way, away from the bad signal. Susie says that's your chair. I mean, that's a chair I would buy, yeah. Definitely is. I do like my chairs. Hyde says it's not IKEA. No, it's not. Says who pressed the dislike button? He's only started and it gets so much better. Thank you so much. I'm not sure. There's a few individuals out there in the world that just want to watch the world burn, and they press the dislike button every single time. We will find you, and you will no longer be pressing that dislike button anymore. I know people. I'm just joking around. I do know people, but don't worry. It's okay. Press that dislike button. Very fancy chandelier, says Just Kate. Oh, it is Just Kate. Marina says you make us scared. Ronald says Ariel has a specific set of skills. Susie says remove the dislike button. I'll have a talk with YouTube. Give them an offer they can't refuse. No, cool. Cool graffiti. Or street art, I mean. Wow. Este es como el otro lado de Nueva York, no tan turístico. Evelyn? Evelyn says, is this the other side of New York, not so touristy? You would think so. I'll respond in Spanish first. Tú pensarías, sí, que esto es no tan turístico, pero te voy a enseñar que solo una calle al lado es una área más turístico en Brooklyn, porque está lleno de arte de la calle, por todo el lado. Y aquí también hay unos discotecas, yo no sé cómo se dice en otros países en Sudamérica, pero discotecas más grandes están aquí en este barrio de Bushwick. So sí, es medio turístico, pero más para jóvenes. Yes, you would think this is not so touristy, but it actually is. We're only a block away from the Bushwick Collective, which we're walking towards that direction. I was going to walk more through the industrial area, but very bad reception down there. So we're going to go once again to the Bushwick Collective, and it's very famous for street art, which you're about to see, but it also is famous for having some of the more famous nightclubs and party events in New York. So I would recommend coming here. And yes, I do see tourists. They tend to skew on the younger side, but they do come here. Especially if you're a young 20-something or 30-something, usually see them venture out here a lot. Susie says real people live here. That too is actually a real. Beautiful. How would you describe Bushwick compared to the rest of Brooklyn, Anthony? This is the real New York. I would say, well, that's what some Bushwickers would say. This is a real New York. Aside from that, Bushwick is young, hip, kind of crazy at night. It is the place to see real New York and also very hip New York at the same time. You see the old school Puerto Rican Americans still in this neighborhood. A lot of immigrants as well coming from Mexico and South America. And you also see hipsters, young 20-somethings, 30-somethings, and 40-somethings coming here from all around parts of the world, usually involved in the arts and other creative endeavors. And overall, you have this creative atmosphere in this neighborhood. Susie says, depends on which direction you walk. Right, it all depends on which way you walk. Susie says, that sounds like it'll suit me. Yes. Susie, I think for the UK viewers out there, I think the best Brixton. That's how Bushwick feels. It's the Brixton of New York. And Williamsburg would be more the Shoreditch of New York. Ooh, a pizzeria. Oh, is this the place that you were talking about? Christopher? UPW? Let us know. So Brooklyn is changing because now they have a huge venue over here called Brooklyn Made. Susie says, oh, maybe not. Well, I'm not sure. Some UKers out there might have not been to Brixton in a few years, but when I went in 2018, Brixton was interesting. It was fun. I didn't feel like a dangerous neighborhood, as it got the reputation many years prior. So, same thing with Bushwick. It's a neighborhood, on the edge, but also not. You won't feel like you're in mortal danger, but there's certain blocks where you'll feel maybe a little bit more in danger. Christopher says OPS is the name Of course, that one's literally identical. Huh, there's like some type of factory here. Wonder what this is. I always dreamt of living in a loft in New York, says Henning. Oh, you did, Henning. That's so cool. Why is that? I'm never going to afford it, says Henning. Henning, keep those dreams alive. You never know. You just may win the lottery tomorrow. Hint, hint. Oh, I'll show you something cool. Susie says, have you tried pan pizza? Where is pan pizza? I never heard of it before. Sounds familiar. When did it open? And where is it? Iriva says, there's a lot of art around. Do artists hang out here? Yes, it is a very artsy neighborhood. Now there's more lawyers and doctors moving in and finance bros, but still artsy. I'm still dreaming of my brownstone in Williamsburg. Williamsburg doesn't have too many brownstones. I don't think they have any brownstones. You might be thinking more Brooklyn Heights or Park Slope. There's a huge Buddha. Just randomly here. It's a massive Buddha. Who wants to hang out with the Buddha? High five, Buddha. Yeah. I feel at peace already. I'm not sure if this is interactive or if I will be infringing on someone's art by sitting on it. But it does look like a bench. It does look like a bench. And if they left it out here, it's a bit wet. Oh, it's a bit wet. Maybe it's not the safest bench to sit on. Aya says, say hi to my mom. Aya's mom, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. That's so cool. I wouldn't sit on it because it's wet with some unknown substance. And I don't feel like cleaning unknown substances off my pants later tonight. So I'll show it to you from here. Take a picture. Yeah, go for it. It is, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Pan is on Decatur Street, more in Ridgewood. Hey, JTV, Red Jedi, thank you so much for tuning in on Twitch. There we go. Oh. It would be a bench if it didn't have an unknown liquidy substance. Then be full, ready to be sat on. It's Filipino Heritage Month, says George. Oh, cool. That's awesome. I have loads of Buddhas in your house, says Kay. That's awesome. The lessons of the first high five, as Red Jedi. From giving that Buddha a high five, I learned the lesson. The lesson that was bestowed upon me, being in the presence of the Buddha, was that when you're in Brooklyn, you must not go to Starbucks. You must go to a local coffee shop. And by doing so, you will see the way. The path towards enlightenment will open up when you enjoy a good local brew. Or a good local smoke. Susie says, coffee shop, I asked for a cup of tea. Alex says, coffee time? You know, I had a cold brew and an Americano in a row. I am completely hyped up on coffee. I'm about to be like this guy, Tony Banana, with my coffee. Say hello to my little friend. That's great. I love that. Incorporating a banana into a classic movie. That's genius. I gotta get in contact with this guy for my Airbnb tours. Denny Such. Next Airbnb tour, I'll be featuring Denny Such's art. Can you physically do it? Run cameras and drink Java? Tom, probably been watching me a lot in Europe, but when I'm in New York, I often walk around with a cup of coffee. Cue to the beginning of this video. So yes, I can walk around with my cup of coffee as I'm live streaming. That doesn't happen too much in Europe, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 cities, because there's not that many to-go coffees in Europe, continental Europe. Ireland and the UK are a bit different, and Greece actually had some to-go coffees as well, which was nice. But the rest of Europe, not so good for to-go coffees. Oh, this looks so comfy, look. Look at that. Tori says, that jacket is fire. Thank you so much, Tori. Oh, so cute. Who wants to sleep on a hot, cheesy bed of pizza? Let me know. And Susie, thank you so much for the recommendation. I'll look into that Ridgewood Pizzeria. Susie, maybe one day I should walk in Ridgewood. I'm not sure if that would be too dangerous of a broadcast to walk in Ridgewood. If I walk in Ridgewood, I may get attacked by 22-year-old hipsters. Aya says, oh my, look at that chick. That was me in my past life, says Aya Vlogs. Aya Vlogs, you can still don the hip scarf and cool glasses. It's never too late to stop wearing hip scarves and cool thick frame glasses. All right, who wants a mirror? This is the Bushwick Market. That's kind of cool. Hey, how's it going? So they were playing some very popular music. So I had to mute. Cool, flea market. I love the old comics. I pulled out one comic that actually had a character that's going to be featured in the next Thor movie. Beta Ray Bill, I think is his name. Is he being featured in the next Thor movie? I think so, but yeah. I pulled out a comic where it has a few characters that are going to appear in the next Thor movie. So it's kind of cool seeing those old comics. Let me know, what's your favorite thing at old flea markets? For me, it's the comics. I kind of love searching through them, especially the Marvel ones. All right, let's continue walking around. Susie says, I need to donate here. Go for it. Yeah, Susie. Love vintage clothing too. I was a bit turned off by the vintage clothing selection because there was a huge puddle underneath it and some of the clothes look really raggedy. Here in New York City, I'm not so trusting of textiles or furniture because of bed bugs. Hey moderators, let's not discuss moderation in the comments. Mistakes happen, it's okay, let's move on.
I think it's more fun to do a three-person costume.
Susie says, you're back. Gave me enough time to make my pot of tea. I'm so glad. Let's see. This is called You Are Not Alone. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you're not alone. That's the gamble with vintage fashion. I found some great finds before. So sometimes vintage stores I do trust. I would go for vintage shopping. There are some great flea market stores out here where the clothes is washed and they don't accept clothes that's too raggedy. Sometimes with the flea markets it might be a different case like we saw right now. Everything else looked great though, but yeah, that's my trepidation when it comes to vintage clothing at flea markets. But vintage markets, which there's a few here in Bushwick, indoors, they're well maintained. Clothes is at a good price, but they are picky enough to not accept super raggedy clothes. Good places to shop for vintage. So it says in español, in Spanish, it says, La intención de este proyecto es de recordarle a la gente que no importa los retos que cada uno de nosotros enfrentamos. Nuestras emociones son universales. Nadie es inmune a la ansiedad, el dolor, la ira, la vergüenza y la tristeza. Hoy y todos los días no estás solo. You are not alone. I'll translate this because it's amazing. It says our intention is to protect and remember and remind the people that it doesn't matter what you go through or what you confront in life, because our emotions are universal. No one is immune to the anxiety, the pain, the ire, the humiliation, and the sadness. Today and every day, you are not alone. Oh, that's great. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Love that. You are not alone. Great work, Adam F.U. You are not alone, made by Adam F.U. I'm sure that stands for a last name. So, this is what happens in Bushwick. If you leave a bike for too long, it'll eventually become a husk of its former self. Ronald says, would you buy vintage underpants? That's crossing the line, Ronald. Crossing the line. No, of course not. Ah, this is key food. Susie says, that's so nice. It is so nice. And it's nice that they wrote it in Spanish because a lot of residents here are Spanish speakers. Oh, here's DeKalb Avenue. Let's check out what's at DeKalb. Now, there's a great TikTok video. As we're walking around Bushwick and parts of Williamsburg, we're going to encounter names that are pronounced differently by different people. There's a great TikTok video of a woman who's Nuyorican. Nuyorican means a Puerto Rican raised in New York, like myself, who grew up here in Bushwick. And she says that she's tired of people correcting her on how to say the name of the streets that she grew up in. Like Graham. A lot of the Puerto Rican and other residents, Italian Americans and a few others that grew up here pronounce it Graham. Same thing with DeKalb. That's how they pronounce it here, DeKalb. But the thing is, people come here to this neighborhood, they move in, they might have a little bit more experience with some of these names in other states, and they correct some of the locals. And it kind of sucks, because you don't want to make someone feel other in their own neighborhood. So great video that I saw on TikTok. So that's why I'll pronounce it DeKalb, even though people pronounce it DeKalb, I think would be the proper pronunciation. Well, proper within quotes. But what is proper? What is proper is what people call it from their own area. And of course, in the world, names are always subject to change in terms of pronunciation. How would a visitor decide if a neighborhood would be safe to walk in? That's a great question, Bear in the Garden. You would have to ask a New Yorker, I think, first and foremost. Beyond that, oh, that is tricky. I'll say this. If a neighborhood doesn't have coffee shops, it might sound very silly, but if it doesn't have coffee shops and it is not the suburbs, then I would say that is an indicator that that neighborhood might not be so safe. Because unfortunately, in neighborhoods that are not so safe, there's not that many small businesses like coffee shops. Of course, you have more like bodegas and corner stores and convenience stores, but you don't have like coffee shops where people hang out, usually. I'm generalizing, of course, but maybe that's one indicator. Another indicator is if it's not mentioned at all in any of the tourist books, even though there's some hidden gems, which I talk about myself, if it's not mentioned at all in the tourist books, then maybe do a little bit further research. Because of course there's certain neighborhoods in Brooklyn and the Bronx which are not going to be mentioned in the tourist books because no one really would go there. Generally, areas with some historical landmarks and attractions are always going to be safe in New York City, and this applies with a lot of cities around the world. Susie says, if you hear gunshots, then stay away. Yeah, that might be another indicator. How about if a place has donut shops? The thing is, unfortunately, places that tend to not be so safe usually only have commercial places like Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's and things like that. But here in Bushwick, since you see more of a variety, I would say this is a safe neighborhood. You can have plant-based sausage, egg, and cheese. English folks might go up north and try to correct the Scots on how to say their own names. Yeah, I can imagine that might happen. But it happens many parts of the world. Oh, some popular music. All right, I'm back. For dog. So everyone, let us know what you think. Oh, look at this, a stationery shop. Oh, that's cool. Quality goods. Oh, that's awesome. Let us know, what are your pro tips for telling the safety of a neighborhood? And please, please be respectful to communities or to people aside from people you might encounter. What other pro tips you have in terms of detecting the neighborhood? Hey, Susie says, do the nowhere men still live around here? Oh, Susie, I think they mentioned in their videos, right? I'm not sure if the nowhere men, I haven't heard of them in years, Susie. I'm not sure what happened to the nowhere men. And they're living up to their name. I hope they're doing good. I always check caching and liquor stores as my barometer. If the police are on guard, beware. Yeah, sometimes you'll be able to see that, yeah. Depends on the area. For dog says, hope my answer is respectful. It is indeed. In my opinion. Ronald says, if you see bullet holes, human chalk on the pavement, then maybe that's an indicator. Indeed it is. They used to film there, missed them, says Susie. Me too. Poor nowhere men. They went over to the private sector. Meaning that they just do videos for clients, no longer for themselves. So Susie is referring to friends of mine who were content creators. They used to make videos on Facebook and they got really big. They ended up getting like 300,000 followers on Facebook. They had millions upon millions of views. And then they just stopped making videos publicly. Kind of sucked. They just started making videos only for clients. And as a content creator, it's always a little bit of a bummer when that happens. Yeah. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if you feel that in your own work, where you see someone you work with and then they just stop working at it. It's kind of like, oh, we lost someone. All right. Our Lady of Guadalupe. Hey Sally, nice to see you here. Let me know if you're watching for the first time. Yeah, let me know if you're watching for the first time. If you said hello before, I haven't seen your name, feel free to say hello again. Bear says, thank you for the answer. Another great stream. I'm so happy you're enjoying it, Bear. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been to this place before, Milk and Pool. I had an avocado toast here many years ago. By many years ago, I mean like last year. I had some avocado toast here. Milk and Pool. Pretty good avocado toast. Bushwick bark. Who wants a haircut? Which one should I get, ladies and gentlemen? Should I get that one with the squiggly lines on the side of my head? Let me know. Should I get that one to pay tribute to my Puerto Rican roots? Hello, Bill. Bill, nice to see you here. Hello, Eurostar. Hello, Faith. Faith from San Antonio. Nice to see you here. So which one? Squiggly lines, the braids to pay tribute to my Puerto Rican roots so I can lengua pa fuera. What do you vote? I'm watching for the umpteenth time, says Susie. Oh, I do know, Susie. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cool little stores here. This is what I like about Bushwick. You'll run into interesting shops. So much, Amanda. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you so much. Miss Dramatica says I should start a ASMR channel because my voice is very soothing. Maybe I shall do ASMR walking tours. Today we're walking in Bushwick, Brooklyn. Yeah. Through the beautiful streets of the real New York. Susie says no. I dig the architecture here, says Jonathan. Yeah, quite a variety of architecture you have here. You have the older townhouses. E. Riva says, no, I want the real Ariel back. For that content creator who switched to pay per view, he forgot where he started, says Eurostar. Indeed, Eurostar. What is this? Irving Bottle. Cool building. Ah, what do you think this used to be, ladies and gentlemen? Let's play What This Building Used to Be. Vote now. What did this used to be? The cornices on the buildings are awesome, says Jonathan. Indeed they are. Oh yeah, I'll zoom in on that. Catherine says, we'll wait for a few more answers. What did this building used to be? Kay and Catherine. Tom says it was a soda soda pop bottler. Maybe, I'm not sure. That is interesting. That's an interesting guess, and I don't think you would be too far off in this area of Brooklyn because there were ballers here. But I would agree with a lot of other people. I would say this is a former church. Might have been Eastern Orthodox, as Tom says, or maybe Jewish. But there are a lot of crosses here, but maybe they're not crosses. I can't quite tell. But I would agree with Catherine and Kay saying that was a church at some point. Kind of looks like it, though I can't tell for sure. Irira says there used to be a Salvation Army. Probably not. Maybe a Salvation Army could have been here at some point, but I would say that's not the original purpose. Susan says so many crosses. Yeah, might very well been the church. Or Catholic school, Roman. Yeah, I think that's another great guess. Kind of looks like a school because it's multi-levels. Could have been a hospital, says Jacob. Very old one if it were a hospital. Susie says it might have been a religious place. Yeah, I would think so. Someone earlier said that they want to see the cornices. Here they are. Deborah says, when are you traveling out of the country? Soon, Deborah. I have some personal good news. I'm moving forward with that big freelance gig that I came back to New York for. So that's happening. Probably it will be done with that probably a week or two from now. So that's very good news. And then I'm also working with a sponsor on TikTok, which is very nice for 2 sponsored videos. So soon, hopefully, I'll be traveling out of the country. Yeah, stay tuned. Wow, a lot of graffiti here. What happened? Graffiti in the houses. This is rare. Catherine says, can we come with you? If I travel, all thousands of you, I have 400,000 viewers total. Now it's getting higher. It's getting close to all right, let's move away from the weird person. So unfortunately, there was a very, very weird person. So let's move the opposite direction. But I'll be bringing all 400,000 plus people who tune in to my various platforms along with me on the trip. So you better pack light so you can fit into my bag. Catherine says we can all wear name tags. Indeed you can. Wow, I'm shocked that there's so much graffiti on the houses. No wonder people have the impression that this is not a safe neighborhood. Bushwick was getting better, but so sad. A lot of graffiti on private homes. That's not good, says E-Readers. No, not good at all.
There's no more chocolate.
Kat says, ooh, when's the next trip? Probably mid-November, give or take. Susie says, let me know. It takes me ages to pack. All right, Susie, I'll tell you in ample time. You gotta pack light though. All right, we'll finish off at Maria Hernandez Park, right here. We kind of walked in the circle, which is nice. But no garbage on the street, says Catherine. Yeah, that's nice. Not too much garbage on the street.
Okay.
All Chinese restaurants look exactly the same here in New York City. Basically the entire US. All right, let's see what we can buy here in Bushwick. So 1.29 million. 6-family home. 1.29 million. All right. $5,000. What? Oh my God. Okay. $5,000 for this. Okay. We'll keep an open mind. What? $3,000? Oh, okay. $3,000. Okay. All right. We'll see something better. 3 bedrooms. $3,000. Okay. $1,000 per bedroom. Okay. 3,200 in Ridgewood, so you can be even further away from the city. Very far away. Taking the train take you about 40 minutes, and it's only 3,200. That must be rent. Yeah, rent per month. $300,000. Wow. All right, everyone. You can buy a 1-bedroom for almost $300,000. A 1-bedroom, you can buy it. $300,000. You can buy a duplex for $1.29 million. Oh my God. Wow. So, yeah, there you can see how New York is. Unfortunately, a very tough place to live nowadays. We are pretty damn far away from the city in terms of commuting. It's about 30 or 40 minutes to get to the city. Optimistically, you can get there in 30 minutes. That's by public transportation. And wow, yeah, that goes to show crazy difference in the city. Which way are we walking? Oh, this way, okay. Kids look happy. Indeed they do, yeah. Kids just got out of school. So this is a public school. Anytime you see a building like this is a public school. And as Phil says, and they said New York was over. It's overpriced. Indeed it is. As Phil says, civilization is ending. We're all insane. Kay says, and there's my $300,000 house. Indeed. Deborah says, just like California, I think a lot of the U.S., well, definitely the major cities of the U.S. are experiencing this. Ridiculous rent prices, says Deborah. Oh yeah, Deborah. Did you video Park Slope and the new French neighborhood, says Annette? Many times I've shown Park Slope and the French neighborhood close to Park Slope called Cobble Hill. Though you're probably referring to Nolita, and Nolita I've shown many times. And then just go back, search Park Slope or search Nolita on YT. Okay, everyone, that was a quick walk through Bushwick, Brooklyn. I'll stick around for a few minutes if you have any questions. I didn't talk too much about Bushwick, but if you have any last remaining questions, feel free to ask. And I'll be back for Halloween. Stay tuned. You'll be seeing some cool Halloween videos, including on Halloween night. I'll be showing you cell reception permitting. I'll be showing you the parade, which is going to be, I think, really fun. Crossing fingers as there's some cell phone reception. I end up getting a pass to go inside, so stay tuned for that. And then also 1 p.m. on Halloween, I'll show you a haunted tour. I think it's overcorrection. In some time, prices will stabilize, says S. Fields. This could get to a very lengthy discussion, but when thinking about housing prices, you gotta think, is anyone actually making $3,000? Any individual family, they'll say they have to spend 40% of their income on rent. So $3,000, and then you add about 60% to $3,000, and let's say it's a couple that wants to live in a nice apartment, they would have to be making a minimum of $10,000 a month in order to afford a place. $10,000 a month is not so common. Split between two, 5,000 and 5,000, not so common. I mean, people, of course, out there make it, but it's definitely not the general New York City population is making individually $5,000 a month. So that's the problem with these apartments. They're getting too expensive for most New Yorkers. And while some New Yorkers are privileged enough to make that much money, not the majority. It's a very small minority. And sometimes they leave those apartments empty because it's cheaper to leave them empty, or it's more profitable to leave them empty than to reduce the price. Susie says, yeah, dress up. I'll be looking for my broomstick. I'll be dressing up as something, I'm wearing an outfit that's like very typical New Yorker of a certain era. I'll let you make your guesses right now. But I'm doing like a typical New York outfit of a very typical era, one specific era. Adults share or live with families, says ABX Girl. Indeed they do. So ABX Girl, we are living in a massive city. 8 million people live in the city, but by no means is the city completely full. There's still space. It's a bit weird in society that many adults either have to have a family that they're splitting income with, or have to live with other adults and roommate. When you think about it, isn't it a bit weird that is absolutely necessary for 90% of the population to do that? It's kind of weird. I think it's weird that we're not making enough houses here in New York City. George says it should be from the era of George Washington. Of course, George, of course. Will you be dressed up as a naked cowboy? Of course, of course. I've been working out all these months for that outfit. Catherine says a designer outfit. It's because the cost of living is too high in America, dude. Indeed it is. Where's the balance? I like your haircut, says Deborah. Oh, thank you so much, Deborah. I'm so glad you enjoy my haircut. Could it be from a speakeasy era? Ooh. Miss Dramatica is getting warm. She's getting warm, Miss Dramatica. Roaring 20s, John C. is getting warm. All right, let me see if I miss any questions. Ooh, spooky Halloween, says Susie. Yes, indeed. Very spooky Halloween, indeed. A la steampunk. Not too much steampunk in New York, unfortunately, in New York City history. Bench test, or are you just sitting? This is just a normal bench. I've reviewed these benches before. The scenery is not so nice. Not so nice. Lots of fencing around. But it's nice to see the trees fall, and I do feel calm, which is cool. No bird poo here. A young hipster man wearing a colorful cardigan is talking loudly in his phone. So you got the ambiance of Brooklyn. So I would give this a very good 6.8 out of 10. Kay says a 1930s gangster. You guys are getting warm. Warm, warm, warm. Do you have a favorite New York City pop artist, says Christopher? That's a good question. A famous pop artist. I like Cobra. Cobra has amazing artwork. He's Brazilian though, but he paints a lot in New York. But New York City based artists, I don't know. I find Basquiat's work very intriguing, and that's but he already passed away a few decades ago. Let me know what's your favorite current New York City artist. I'm not too in-depth into the art world. I can tell you my favorite New York City filmmakers. There's a guy called Oscar Boyson. He's probably one of my more favorite New York City-based filmmakers. Darren Aronofsky is also my top favorite director, and he happens to also be based in New York. George says, renting is so expensive, that's why Ernesto lives a tree. Ernesto the squirrel, yeah, indeed. Affordable housing income levels are ridiculous, says Susie. Indeed they are. So for anyone who's curious, if you want to qualify for affordable housing in New York, which means that you end up getting rent at a somewhat more reasonable amount, and there's an 80-20 rule, so any new massive apartment building has to have 20% for affordable housing. In some apartments, affordable housing is a salary of $100,000. Hey, Lori, thank you so much for a PayPal. I appreciate it. So, $100,000 is affordable housing in some apartment buildings, like in the waterfront of Brooklyn or some parts of Manhattan. If you were to go deeper here into Bushwick, affordable housing would be considered a salary of $60,000, which to me doesn't seem like they're targeting the people who really need housing. A humble 6.8, says Fila. Oh yes. Catherine says Al Capone. No, I wouldn't do Al Capone. I can see a great Gatsby vibe. You guys are getting warm. Are you serious? I had no idea, says SPLs. Yes, yes. There's a directory of what you can see what is available for affordable housing in New York. Just search New York City affordable housing. You'll see that directory pop up. Fun fact, 74% of Americans make less than 100K per year. Yeah, indeed, indeed. Catherine says a month, 100K a year would be the salary that they're expecting for some affordable housing. Not all. I'm just making an example of some places in like the Williamsburg waterfront that consider affordable housing 100K a month, 100K a year. Esfiel says, okay, this is the official end of the civilization, indeed. Catherine says, Howard Hughes, am I dressing up as Howard Hughes? He's not a New Yorker. Howard Hughes is not a New Yorker. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This was a relaxed walk through Bushwick, Brooklyn. I would recommend going to the Bushwick Collective, which is around where we started. It's about 3 to 4 blocks. There is a nightclub. If you're looking for the best New York City nightclub, I would say it's like the Studio 54 of our era. It's called House of Yes. Go there. There's a few concert venues, of course, here. And And the chocolate factory, fine and raw. It's a bit more out of the way, but it's only 5 blocks away from the train station. Highly recommend it. It's actually really good, and they have a cafe inside where you can get yourself a great toast with spreadable chocolate, and it's like the best thing ever. Highly recommend it. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Lorraine, thank you so much. She's not appearing on the chat. Oh no, I'm not sure why. Lorraine, now I can see Lorraine. I'm not sure why chats are not appearing. Are you getting any error messages? Any error messages? Do let me know in the comments. I'm curious. Sometimes these things are out of my control, but sometimes mistakes happen in moderation. So sorry about that. Lorraine, thank you so much for the PayPal, everyone. I'll be sending the last few postcards from New York City. So if you want a New York City postcard, you got to become a mega urbanist by Friday. By Friday, you have to become a mega urbanist to receive an October postcard from New York City. The other mega urbanists already received one from Ireland. Otherwise, in November, you'll receive one from New York or from our next destination. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Patreon.com/urbanist. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Have a great day, everyone. Ah, look who's coming. Earl the squirrel paying us a visit. Have a good day, everyone.